The views and opinions expressed at Enhanced Down Under are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official views of the company. Any content provided by our hosts are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.
Welcome to Enhanced Down Under, and this is episode 14. We are the official podcast channel of Enhance NT. My name is Anna. I am a qualified education agent counselor.
Hi, my name is Jairus. I'm part of the Enhance NT team too. I do mostly the IT work, but I do help in consulting sometimes.
All right, so in our previous episode, we were graced again by Kat Veracruz, an international student here in Darwin. And during that episode, Kat not only shared her life as an international student, but she also shared her academic experience, plus the difference in the teaching style, plus the grading system of the schools here in Darwin. By the way, Kat, she is also a student ambassador of Study NT. Study NT is also like Enhance NT that promotes education, international education here in Darwin, but they are government funded. And to be chosen as an ambassador of their organization is truly an honor, because I believe they also give grants and scholarships. So Kat was able to navigate to share us her journey about being an international student, and plus a glimpse of how she works here, of her daily life as a student and as an ordinary person. So Jairus, how? By the way, Carol, my co-podcaster, is not yet here with us today due to some pressing matters. She's still very busy with her schedules, but we are very lucky to be joined by Jairus. Hi.
I'm lucky to be the one to, be here.
Thank you for coming and joining us here. So Jairus, so what would be our topic for today?
Our topic for today would be, we want to talk about the different type of visas to apply for, to kind of know that, sometimes, there's other kind of visas that people could look into. So it's not just all that stuff. We're going to talk about it more in detail as the episode goes on.
All right. So just to give you all a background, Jairus is a permanent resident here in Australia. And it was a long journey for him, but as he mentioned in the previous episode, to be able to become a permanent resident, sometimes you also need luck and being at the right place and at the right time.
And to look for a trustworthy migration agent.
Perfect. All right, so let's go through. So if you are looking of visiting Australia, whether permanently or temporarily, there are other types of visa that you can apply for. Because usually people just have this, I want to study there. So I would apply for student visa. Of course, we will be talking about student visa later. But other than student visa, what are the other visas that you can apply for if you want to visit? So it depends on your preference and your purpose, right?
Yep.
All right. So
different purposes, sometimes different situations. Not everything's the same. Not everyone's, everyone has different kind of ways of getting into. So like these are the visas that you could see on the website. So it's not like it's not like hidden information.
Let's start with. Okay, so let's begin with tourist visa.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I believe subclass 600. So it's something, if you are going to check the website of the Home Affairs, I think the visa cost would be like around $180. And it's something that's valid for, usually it's valid for a year, but if you are given multiple entry, you are lucky. And each entry would, in my case, when I was granted a tourist visa, I was given 3 months of stay. And if you have this tourist visa, you are entitled for training and study, but you should not exceed 3 months. that's up to 3 months only. So that's I'm not sure if other people know it, but you can actually study, but maximum of 3 months only. So you won't be breaching your visa condition if you do that. So that's tourist visa. What other visas that you can think of,
just
Jairus?
something to add, like if you're doing your visas, especially if it's your first time, just to make sure that you read everything in the website. For the most part, if you go to the Department of Home Affairs, like they do list out everything you need for the most part.
Yes.
And sometimes people, they don't read everything, and then at the last minute, the website, Home Affairs might email you and be like, oh, you need to submit this. And once you've put your foot in the door, sometimes it's harder to get back. Like if you need to add more documents and stuff, now you're kind of in a weird situation where like, what am I gonna do? Do I have enough time? So just make sure that you read everything. You read everything twice, thrice if you need to. List everything that you send. Just it's all there in the website. It's not like
Yes.
It's not like hidden. Sometimes people like, oh, what do I do with such hidden information? No, it's all on the website. Just make sure that you read it properly.
Especially when you're applying for a tourist visa. Well, in my case, I lodged it myself. Nag-DIY ako, or do it yourself, because I relied on the information available on the Department of Home Affairs website, and it's very helpful. They have listed all the requirements that would be asked from you by your case officer, so make sure that you are able to provide that when you lodge your application.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip. Check the Department of Home Affairs website to be able to get proper information of what are the requirements of the particular visa. Of course, the more complicated the visa is, the more requirements would be asked from you. And in that case, you'd be requiring a migration agent.
Get professional help.
Yeah, you need professional help for if you're going to, let's say, apply for a student visa or a skilled migration visa. Okay, so as for a student visa, that's like subclass 500. That's very controversial, or in demand, as we say, because again, the education sector is experiencing a challenge because of the stricter visa rules implemented by the Department of Home Affairs.
There are stricter visa rules right now.
Yes. As you know, our previous guest in the podcast, Kat, she mentioned that during her time, it was easier. It was, she lodged her application, and after 13 days, she received her visa grant.
Oh, that was quick.
Now it's longer, maybe because of the stricter visa rules, plus a lot of more requirements are being asked.
Did they say anything? Why the rules are much more stricter?
That with the influx of the students, sometimes, although it's not official, it's we have seen it in other write-ups that students are being blamed, or temporary migrants are being blamed for the influx of population and eventually shortage in housing, particularly in bigger cities like Sydney and Melbourne, because they're the more populous.
Not the foreign investors buying all the houses, but the students.
But we don't have that problem here in Darwin.
We actually do have, I think we have the best residency rates compared to the other cities. Because compared to the other Melbourne City, where everyone trying to move into, or ours are a bit more flexible. That's a good thing. At least like if you do move here, it's not as hard trying to get a home compared to like if you move to Sydney. I've known people where they have to go for like an hour commute, 2 hour commute, because they live in Sydney, and then their job is in the CBD. And they had no choice but to do that 1 hour commute by train, 2 hour commute by train.
Just for one way?
Just for one way. Yeah.
Oh, is it similar to the Philippines?
Yeah, but like similar.
Although it's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean like you're still in the train, you're just sitting in the train and it's not stopping. But the problem is if you do ride the trains, and then it does happen too, like it's not a perfect country. Sometimes the trains do have problems. You get
you can
sometimes
that.
The train engine problems and all that stuff. It does hold you back. But it's still, it's still better than what we have back at home. But still, it's still a 1 hour commute. It's still a good 1 hour of your time devoted to, instead of doing something else. That's still 2 hours, and that doesn't include you going to the train stations yourself.
Yeah, plus the preparation.
Yeah.
That's a long commute.
Like in here, if I live in, let's say I live in Stewart Park, and I go to work at like East Arm, it's a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive, and that's like 20 kilometers. It's not. There's no traffic here. You don't really get stuck anywhere. Even if you do get the rush hour, it's not really like the rush hour you see in Asian countries.
I agree on that. That's what I always hear. Like everything is just like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
And there's this place that we visited in Palmerston. Palmerston is like 17 kilometers away or 18 kilometers away from the CBD, from the city. But you will be able to reach your destination even if it's 17 or 18 kilometers away from you in like 15 minutes. If you are driving, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're not, if you're taking the public transport like the bus, that could double. But still, it's very time efficient. And well, as I always commend the Northern Territory government for the efficiency of public transport here.
Yeah, the bus is normally on time. Like if you see the bus timetables, give or take, it's going to be there. It might be a bit late sometimes. No one's perfect, but at least the bus is going to be there. Compared to like what we go through some back in the day, like if anyone who live in like the Philippines or any Asian country that doesn't have a proper public transportation, you don't really wait. You don't know when the bus is going to come in. There's no timetables. There's no schedules. You just have to stand in the corner and wait for the bus you're trying to ride. So here at least you have more structure. There's more organization. Like if it's 8:15, for the most part the bus is going to come around that time.
That's wonderful. That's the beauty of being in Darwin, and plus you can track the real-time destination of the bus.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't.
Google Map.
I never knew that.
I experienced during Anzac Day. There were 2 buses that did not arrive.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because it was a holiday.
There are good special occasions sometimes, and then sometimes
it happens.
Like on the weekends, the bus schedules do change. Like I think, is it an hour more on the weekends?
Yeah, the gap between the the interval.
Yeah.
All right. So other than the student visa, okay. If they ask how much is a student visa, according to the DHA or Home Affairs website, it's 710. And normally, from experience, every 1st of July, they increase their visa fees. So, but it's very minimal. I'm not sure if they're going to do so this 1st of July, but we recommend that to get the updated pricing, always check the Home Affairs website.
I think that's one of the things some people might not realize is that you have to be financially prepared too sometimes. Even just before leaving. It's not like a student visa thing. It's one of the things you have to think about when you move to a different country. Because not everything might go the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Like if you do get here, you're going to be like, oh yeah, after a week I'm going to get a job, and after I get a job, I'm going to get a car. But that's not how it always goes for some people. You could go for like a month, 2 months without a job.
Without employment.
Yeah. So if you don't at least if you can, try to find support or at least be financially prepared that things might not go your way. So this is one of the things that should be in the back of your head if you do want to move to a different country.
I'm just curious, since maybe do you know any, if ever someone just short of cash and doesn't have enough budget anymore, do you have like shelters here?
So not in my personal experience, but like I know in some states you can go to soup kitchens. We do have a soup kitchen here in Darwin, if I remember correctly.
Soup kitchen?
Soup kitchen.
Okay.
It's kind of like a food shelter.
Ah,
you get free
right.
food
So
there.
they give away free meals.
And then if you go to Vinny's, St. Vincent's, it's kind of like an op shop. Op shop is where you can sell secondhand clothes. And some Vinny's, I know they also serve food.
Vinny's, yeah.
Vinny's, St. Vincent's, and then a little bit of local knowledge. The Sikhs. Like in the Indians, the Sikhs is one of their religious sects, and one of the things they do is they do help people.
Oh.
And normally you can go to like one of their temples and they're going to feed you. It doesn't matter which religion you are.
Whatever your religion is.
Yeah, it's one of their things is to help people. So that's also a good thing to know if you need to eat food or you feel like you're lost and all that. And then there's always the church. You can always go to church for the most part.
Those church organizations, they're very helpful.
I think they're going to help. I'm not too in the know with the churches here, but for the most part, they're probably gonna help you.
Hi, we're back online. Sorry for that. We experienced some technical glitch. All right, so let's continue.
So like I said, if you're trying to look for help here, for the most part, you're gonna find someone who's gonna help you. You know, like if you're at least in a situation where you're down on your luck and you don't know what to do, there's going to be resources that it's going to come forward if you do look for it.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
All right. So other than student visa, if you are looking for employment or if you are thinking of coming here to Australia for employment, there's an option for a temporary shortage skilled visa. We are not able to give you advice on that, being we're not migration agent, but we can refer you to the Home Affairs website where they have listed this occupations, different occupations that you may be able to consider depending on your qualifications, of course. And some would require you to have the skills assessment. It depends. But here in Darwin, so far some of the most in demand or popular occupations are in hospitality, industry, and aged care or healthcare and community service. Like, I think there's a shortage of cooks and chef here. Yeah,
a lot of the skilled trades, skilled jobs is normally shortages in Australia, as you can see in the websites. You know, I think one of the things though a lot of people should remember, like one of the things I did for myself. If I would just add is I made sure that I kept every document that was given to me when I was still working back in the Philippines.
Okay, so for future use.
Yeah, you know, because you know you'll never know when they're gonna ask you for something. Like if they ask you for pay slips and all that. That's what I did for myself. That's just me. You know, it doesn't really affect anyone, but I just made sure that I kept everything. So now when someone asks me for like pay slips from my first job, I can give it, you know.
That's a very good advice because we have this client, he was not able to present pay slips because the company that he used to work with closed down. And unfortunately, he was not a direct hire of the hotel. But the hotel, they were very kind and they willingly gave him this certificate of employment as proof of his tenure in the company. However, the assessing body, the assessing authority required him to produce pay slips. He was not able to show anyone, and that assessing body did not recognize the certificate of employment issued by the hotel. And because it was really their non-negotiable requirement, pay slips.
That's sort of happened to me, but I had pay slips. They asked pay slips from like the first day I entered the job up until the last day. And you know, fortunately enough, I did a good amount of organizing. I kept all the documents. I was able to provide it, despite having like this massive PDF file that I had to send. You know, at least they can't complain that you know I missed any of the dates they asked for. It was like I don't know, maybe like 12 pages long of scanned pay slips that I gave. But you know, it's a good tip to kind of note if you're gonna do something of that nature at some point.
Keep the documents that might be relevant in your future application. Okay, so if you're going to check the Department of Home Affairs website, you're going to find this skilled occupation list, depending on the type of visa that you are applying for. But it's a long list of occupation available for those who are looking to come to Australia for work. And I think, there's even an actor, dancers for those entertainment industry. Do you know anyone who wants to come here?
I can think of something, but you know, I've known someone before back in New Zealand. He was a karate instructor. No, it was taekwondo. Like the reason he was able to get into New Zealand because he was, you know, doing taekwondo, and they needed
was
more.
Was he part of the Philippine team, or was he part of the national team, or what?
I don't remember anymore because that was, you know, a good amount of time. But that was the reason why he got there. So you know, like you'll never know.
It's a skill that you know.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Paved the way for him to go to New Zealand. I didn't know that. So even your dancing skill, your sports skill would be able to land you a job.
Because they're like, you know,
abroad.
There's like vast arrays of industries and that they might need. And you would never know that you might fill the position if you never look at the website, if you never look at the list.
Because the usual requirement are those in the trade industry. Carpentry, cabinet making, yan yung mga the usual, that architect, and of course for those in hospitality industry, healthcare, doctors, nurses, So I didn't know that.
Yeah, they still provide value, like a good amount of values to the community, to the society. Like if, especially for kids, that you want to provide more extracurricular activities and they don't want to do it like any of the other normal sports. They don't want to do footy, they don't want to do cricket, they don't want to do football. That's a good way to kind of say, oh, do you want to do taekwondo? Or do you want to do like a different kind of sport? And sometimes you might be in a city where there's no instructors that do that. So you'll never really know. There's a lot of jobs there that if you don't look at the website, you'll be surprised that you might find.
All right. So other than the skilled visa, there's also what we call the training visa, or the subclass 407. Okay. So with training visa, just an overview. Again, training visa is a temporary visa, and which, if you are granted, you may be able to stay in Australia for up to 2 years. The cost, according to Department of Home Affairs, is 405 Australian dollars for the main applicant. Of course, if you are going to take your dependents with you, that cost would increase. So, processing time, it depends. Sometimes, I know some who have already lodged their training visa application early February until now. They have yet to receive any.
It's always a waiting game. You have to be a patient person for this one.
Yeah. So, what can you do with the training visa? Okay, visit Australia to complete a workplace-based training to improve your skills for your current occupation, area of tertiary study, or field of expertise, or a professional development training program. But this is the catch. You cannot just apply it on your own. You cannot apply independently. As per the Home Affairs, you should be sponsored. Dapat you have an employer. Be nominated and be invited by your sponsor. So it's a long process. It's a long and tedious process.
And this is where like professional help comes into play. Like for cases like this where it's a bit more complex, it's probably safer. For me, like if I was going to go through this, and I see like this massive, information in my face that you need to do this, you need to do that, you have to be invited, all that. I'd rather just go for professional help, seek professional help. At least, there's like a guiding hand that tells me, you should do this, you don't need to do that. And sometimes like, you don't need to do this yet, do this at this time.
Because they have that expertise. I can just relay,
just like if you go to a mechanic, you don't go to like, I'm going to fix my car myself. I'd rather go to, someone who knows what they're doing.
Someone who's expert in that field.
Case. Yeah, like if I need to change like the wheel of my car, I'm going to do it myself. But if I need to replace the engine, I'm not going to do it myself. I'll probably look for someone who's an expert in that field. Same way if you do in this kind of aspect. If you go for a complicated case, then might as well, go for an expert who can help you.
Sometimes because we cannot blame people for choosing to do things on their own because they think that hiring a migration agent is expensive. It is, but of course if you are going to look at the bigger picture, you'll benefit more rather than I've known some person who applied for student visa on their own and they miserably fail. Of course, no one is stopping you from, especially if you want to apply for a student visa. You will not be required by the Home Affairs Department to have an agent, but it always helps to get professional advice. And especially if you are not sure of your career path yet, you might be applying for a course that is, not really related to your work background and to your current education. And then eventually, if you submit or lodge your application, the visa officer assesses it, they will just refuse it. Why? Why are you changing? You are a culinary arts student and then suddenly you want to go to aged care. Why? So those are the instances that getting professional or an expert's advice would really benefit you. Right?
That's true.
Yeah. So other than those types of visa, partner visa, right?
Yeah.
That is if you want to, stay permanently.
Yeah. It's a different kind of case, Like if you're lucky enough, maybe you might meet someone online, you might meet someone in real life. There's always the partner visa that's available to people. But I feel like that's a pretty popular visa. A lot of people probably know that because it applies like for other countries too, like in the U.S. or in Europe or in Canada. Like it's always the partner visa, you know.
But it's so pricey.
Is it? How much? How much are partner visas right now?
8,000 something.
Oh wow,
Let me check.
that is expensive.
It's it is.
Yeah.
Okay, partner visa. Oh wow, it's a whopping 8,850
Just once, or
Australian dollar.
how many times do you have to pay?
I think. Well, it says here for a temporary, which is I think 2 years.
2
while you're
years.
still being assessed.
Wow.
That's 8,800.
Yeah. You have to be prepared then, you know. Make sure your partner's rich.
And truly love you.
Yeah.
Because to be able to spend that much
Yeah.
for you,
That's like 8,000.
That's
How much
like
would
true
that
love.
be in peso? That's
times 37 at least.
Oh, that's a good amount, right? Probably buy a
good
car, maybe down payment for a house. I'm not sure.
Have you handled any partner visa applications before?
I've helped with some.
Any interesting story that you can share?
I think one of the most interesting ones would be when we helped set up an online marriage.
Really?
Yeah,
How does
because it was
work?
during a pandemic, you know. So of course, like both parties couldn't travel, they couldn't meet, so we had to help trying to set up an online marriage. And one of the few countries that did online marriages would be the U.S. So it was like a massive party of someone was in the Philippines, someone was in Australia, someone was in Utah. I think it was either Colorado, Utah, and then in Australia too. It's kind of like funny to see like, oh, this is kind of a different experience, you know. An online wedding, someone's officiating. You see like some old grandma on the side, like, oh, how is this working? You know, it's a new thing. Like, oh, I've never seen this
Everything
before.
can be done online now.
Yeah. You can find like registered officials that can do online weddings. So that was like the most oddest one I've probably experienced.
That's unique.
So if I want to get married, I can just
Would you
just do
prefer
it online.
online?
Yeah, at the comfort of my home. I'll be like the pandemic, you know. I'll be a suit on top, shorts on the bottom.
You mentioned in the previous episode that you're thinking of studying here again.
Oh yeah, I am planning on kind of studying here again. You know, kind of off topic, but I'm looking at since getting my permanent residency, a lot of other benefits kind of open up to you. So if you're a resident here, you don't have to pay international fees for studies.
Yes.
You get to pay local fees, and normally for Australia, for the government, they do want more of their people to study, more of their residents, the locals to study. It does help them, of course, in the community. It helps in the industries that having more people study here, be more educated about it. So I'm trying to look for, we call it like upskilling, either upskilling or kind of diversifying my skills. I'm trying to look at cybersecurity. It might be like something I'm kind of interested in. I keep seeing like ads on it on my social media and all that stuff, and it seems like something that kind of fits me well, and I do want to kind of explore what I can go with it, you know.
Yeah, it's always good to always upgrade your knowledge.
Yeah.
Like you don't stagnate yourself. That's a very good effort on your part that you want to continue improving.
Yeah.
I'm already a permanent resident. I can just.
Oh, and if people don't know, we have something called Darwin Adult Classes here in Darwin. I think it's going
What
to...
is that again? Sorry.
Darwin Adult Classes.
Darwin Adult Classes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you can do like, you can study different language, you can like do cooking, you can do like pottery, a lot of different courses that's available for Darwin residents.
Okay.
You have to just
At a minimal fee.
Yeah, nothing too expensive, like $75, maybe $100. And normally, like if you pay like $100, it could be like a 2-week course or a 4-week course. You can study like Japanese, basic
Japanese language. Yeah.
or you can do I think they do pottery too. I think it's on the road going to the airport. Yeah, so that's also like another avenue of studies now.
All right. So since we have mentioned all those some of the other types of visas that they can apply for, okay, supposing they're already here in Australia and let's say Darwin, what are the activities that they are going to do here other than working?
I mean, depends on what kind of activities you're looking for. Like, I think one of the appeals for Darwin would be if you're an outdoors person. Australia as a whole has a massive outdoors scene. If you do like the whole bushwhacking, you like overlanding, you like 4x4s, this is the place to be. Like one of the recent cars that we have, the Raptors, the Ranger Raptors, it was actually designed to be for the Australian outback. No,
Outback,
they went
okay.
with the Australian team to kind of study how 4x4s are done. So if you like doing that, this is the place to be. If you like camping, if you like going out, if you like outdoors, Australia is a good place. And especially if you're the kind of person who likes buying stuff like the camping chairs, like the tents, the burners, and all that. Yeah, you're gonna love it here. This is one of the best places to
Camping culture.
be. Camping culture, yeah, camping culture, and then even the food here in Darwin. Despite being such a small country, small city, I mean, a lot of people. There's a lot of different races here, a lot of different ethnicities, nationalities. It helps
It's
that they
multicultural.
bring their cuisines, And the good thing about here is that since it's a bit more concentrated with different ethnicities, they don't change too much of the taste of the food.
Oh,
So it's a bit
okay.
more authentic, Like eating
Vietnamese, they say Vietnamese food.
It's probably
really
good to
get
taste like
authentic Vietnamese food.
yeah, like the banh mi's I had here is as close as I can get this the banh mi's I had in
the same
Vietnam.
banh mi.
Yeah, because sometimes you might go to a place and you'd be like, this is kind of
yeah.
it feels odd. It means that they've kind of
A knockoff.
tweaked the flavors to kind of cater to the usual clientele.
Oh.
It's one of the things that some people don't think about. Like there are other places that don't feel as authentic because they do change like the spices or the flavors. But here in Darwin, for the most part, normally if you go to the Vietnamese places or the Greek places, they're probably going to taste as close to what they have. Sometimes even better because, like, if you go to, there used to be one, I forgot the name of one Filipino-inspired restaurant here. And the thing is, sometimes the food could be better here because the quality of the meats and the ingredients are better here in Australia versus going back home.
Yes, that's okay. One of the advantages of living in Australia, their meat is really of good quality.
Yeah. Like one time I was trying to make like beef curry. If I did it back at home, I had to boil the meat for an hour just to make it soft. Versus here, when I bought it off the market, I just put it in the pot and did like a quick boil with everything. It's all ready to eat. You don't have to boil it for an hour to make it softer. So that kind of saves time, saves energy. At least you know that you're getting quality meats.
Now, even if they say that Darwin is remote, I think everything here is still very efficient.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
sample with my mobile phone provider. Can I mention? Okay, I don't want to mention. Anyway, they're very good in giving, especially if you've been a long time customer. I've been with them since I arrived in Australia, and when I sort of requested them for a small favor, they responded positively. Like they gave my son an extra 10 gig in his mobile phone.
They treat you like customers, not just like people to sell off to. Like with me, I went through an eSIM, going through my mobile provider. I bought a new phone and I wanted an eSIM. And apparently if you do that back at home, you have to pay a fee.
Oh, yes.
But just technically, you're not really spending anything because an eSIM doesn't have a physical plastic card.
eSIM, yes.
They're just like scanning the QR codes. To log
eSIM is
the
an electronic SIM.
Electronic
Okay.
SIM. So you don't have a physical card in your phone anymore. In our country, they charge you for that. Here, they just do it for free. And I've done it twice because I've changed phones a couple of times, and they don't charge you because why would they charge you? You're already existing customer. You're already paying.
Yeah.
Like normally, like these little things they do add up.
Yeah.
You don't have to line up as much, and you don't have to think about if I go to this on a specific time, it's gonna be full of people, and then they're gonna charge you for something that it should actually just be free.
And then their helpline are really helpful.
Yeah.
In fairness, whether you want to chat with them online or you call them, someone would be able to assist you. That's the thing, and they really value their loyal customers, their loyal patrons. Transport system. You drive around, right?
Yeah, I do drive.
How's the price of petrol?
Now actually, petrol is a bit lower now. It was a bit higher, I think, last year. Sort of after the unshakiness, after the pandemic, after COVID, prices weren't as consistent. It was cheaper back then, but now it's slowly getting back into the prices not really as close, but no, back then I think during the 2-3 years ago you were paying like $2.05 for per liter and all that. It's a bit better now.
Yeah.
But you do know, just so people know, like if you drive in Australia, it is a left-hand drive country. You don't drive on the right. I've seen
Here,
some
it's on the
people.
right.
Oh man, I've seen some people when I was still a student, who's driven on the right side of the road, and you know that can be dangerous, especially if you live in like a bigger city. Like where I used to live, it's a smaller town, so you know there's a lot more room for mistakes. But if you do that in Sydney, it can get dangerous.
Yeah, that can be dangerous. That's one of the big adjustments that you might, or challenges that you might be able to face, that you might face when you move to Australia. It's right-hand drive.
And you have to follow the rules here, at least.
And they're very strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is here, like there's speed cameras, you know. Some people, they think these are fake, but they actually work. Like if you get caught by a speed camera, it's a hefty fine. And you know, since it's a point system, you get demerit points in your driver's license, and you can accumulate
cancel?
enough. Yeah, you can accumulate enough points where they cancel your license. And if you do cancel your license and they confiscate it, you have to go through your P's again, your provisional license and all that. You have to study again.
Again?
Yeah,
So
and that's going to take a long time
Oh.
because you need to accrue hours in your driver's license before you can eventually get like the permanent ones.
So you have to be really very mindful.
And the fines can go up to $400 for speeding.
Ouch.
And that's just
That's
like
a lot.
Imagine like I don't know, maybe it's a half.
Can you contest?
In some cases, you can actually. Like if you know that you weren't really speeding, or you were in like this small allowance. If I didn't really speed, it could be like above a kilometer or whatever. You can do contest if you want to, you know, but that's going to take a longer process. But yeah, but then if you're paying like $400 and you feel like you didn't really speed, then it might be a good.
So you just receive a mail saying that you violated this traffic
You get a
rule.
mail, and then depending on which kind of speed cam you get, you might either get a photo or just where it happened. And then there's just
I don't see any traffic guy here, any traffic enforcer.
you know, it's not very rarely. I'm not sure because I don't really go out at night a lot, but back in the day, they normally have checkpoints for breathalyzers, so they can check if you've been drinking.
If you're intoxicated,
So they do have that at night, but there's no traffic enforcers here. But we do have speed cameras that.
Speed cameras.
Yeah, and you get caught. You know, it could be like a $200 fine. It could be a $400 fine, and that is, you know, some people might think 400 is a small amount, but that goes a long way here.
No, here.
400 is enough to pay your rent. You know, like
and
go for groceries.
Grocery for a week could be like 50, and that's already for 2 people.
Maybe for her, but you know, I'm a
For
bigger
me
guy.
and my son, up to 80. Yeah. All right. So, what are the festivities that you look forward to? Because I've only been here for a few months.
Well,
and now we are on our winter season.
Since the dry season is coming in, the Mindel Beach should start opening. Is it open now?
Yeah, they say, but I was not able to go to their opening. I heard that there's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a good amount of food you can get there. You can get like the honey puffs. I like getting the honey puffs, and then there's this one like Filipino-owned food stall there that sells crocodile burgers. Crocodile burgers, and they make like these massive burgers.
How does it taste?
I like it. You know, like have you had kangaroo before?
No.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Just like try to maybe get like the kangabangers. It's kind of like the sausages.
Does it taste like chicken?
I think kangaroo tastes like steak, but a bit more gamey. Should give it a try sometimes. You know.
All right.
It's not just a quick ad. Normally, like I can say that, but not every state sells kangaroo, so might as well give it a try.
Right. Thank you. That's wonderful. All right, that wraps up our episode.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, yeah, but I think I like what you said when of hiring a reliable and reputable migration agent.
It goes a long way. You know, that's the route I went to, and if it wasn't for them, I would have probably done something wrong at some point. And it's kind of like, how do you call it? Your life kind of depends on it, especially like if you go here in a different country and you know you're not trying to use as much resources as you can. Your life kind of depends on it. If you make a mistake and you go back, and I've known some people have like sold all their stuff back at home, and if that doesn't work, well, how do they go back home to? They have nothing.
Migration is a life-changing decision,
Yeah,
you know.
it's a big step.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, people, for joining us for today's episode.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so we are Enhanced NT, and we are located at 590 Mitchell Street, Darwin, NT. Our email address is skills@enhancednt.com.au. Phone number 0879792352. Please like, subscribe, and share our social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Spotify. Thank you for joining us on this video podcast.
And whether you're an international student aspiring to study abroad or a professional looking to work in Australia, it is essential to seek professional advice, stay informed, and embrace the opportunities that migration brings.
Here at Enhanced Down Under, we will help you choose the right path for your career goals. Up until next time.
See you guys.